In this film, I'll be visiting the twin jewels of Eastern Turkmenistan. Later, the ancient Silk Road city of Merv, but first its descendant, the modern city of Mari, the friendliest city in the nation.
Hello, what? Hello!
gyz-salam.
Hoş geldiniz.
Welcome to Mari.
Mari is a city of around 170,000 people, the fourth largest in Turkmenistan. Under the Soviets, the economy was based on cotton. These days, the financial driver is natural gas. Compared to the showcase capital of Ashgabat, it's more of a traditional Central Asian city. Until 1937, the city was still known as Merv. The Emir of Bukhara had moved the last residents of ancient Merv to this location on the Murghab river in the late 18th century. Basically, this is the new Merv. When it was captured by the Russian Empire in 1884, the British were shocked.
Now, this was an important move in the Great Game and had the British wondering whether the Russians were going to continue on to India. In Westminster, they coined a new term, Mervousness. Probably one of the best puns of the 19th century. The largest Russian Orthodox church in the whole of Turkmenistan is here in Mari.
The Pokrovskaya Church, or Church of the Intercession, was built around 1900 by Russian forces after they seized the city. It caters for the small remaining ethnic Russian population in this corner of Turkmenistan.
Now, during Soviet times, the Orthodox Church, which you can see behind me, found itself as part of a military base, which explains why just down the road you can find a MiG-29 fighter. In the capital, Ashgabat, it can be hard to find traces of the old Soviet Union, except perhaps the small Lenin statue. But that's not the case here in Mari. And as for mosaics, there's one of the largest Soviet mosaics that I've ever seen. Over there.
This hugely impressive ceramic mosaic mural is now a forgotten relic, like many others scattered across the former Soviet Union. I couldn't find any information about its name or its creator. Now it's lunchtime, so let's go shopping at the bazaar.
In Russian, this is known as the Green Bazaar, but in Turkmen...
So Turkmen people call it Zilyon Bazaar.
Now, officially, this bazaar is called King of the World Central Bazaar, harking back to the days of ancient Merv. Now, there are three types of samosas: meat, potato and spinach. This is spinach. Bargain price of 1 manat per samosa, which is roughly 6 pence.
The bazaar was a good place for Mekan to tell me about the reputation that Mari has in the wider nation.
Mari known for rich people, and people are in Mari that are really good for business and trading. And in our country, Mari people are known as sneaky people because they are really good on business, so they can sell the production really easy. So that's why they speak really beautiful, good words to you, and then so they make you to buy things from them easily. Turkmenistan, there is an expression about that Mari never sleeps, because in Mari you can find anything, even it's night. You can find a good restaurant or cafe or a shop.
The most impressive building of the new era is the white marble mosque, which wouldn't look out of place in Ashgabat.
So this mosque built for our second president, and the name of this mosque called Haji Mosque. And why we call this mosque Haji? Because in Islam, when you visit Mecca for 3 times in your lifetime, you become a Haji. So that's why our president, last president, Qurbanqulu Muhammadov, he has been to Mecca for 3 times, and after that moment they built this mosque as a Haji mosque.
Opposite the mosque, you'll find the History and Ethnological Museum. It contains a treasure trove of artefacts from the Silk Road cities of Merv and Margush, as well as exhibits of traditional Turkmen life. Of particular note are the paintings celebrating Guljamal Khan. Born in 1836, she was the third wife and trusted advisor to Nurberdi Khan, a Teke leader of the tribes around Merv and a leader of the resistance to Russia's military incursion. Upon his death in April 1880, she assumed tribal leadership and was a source of intelligence to the British concerning Russian troop movements and activities in Afghanistan. As the last independent Turkmen leader, in 1884 she agreed to end the conflict with Russia and, for the good of her people, accepted Russian control of Turkmen tribal lands.
Here is my grandfather.
Now let's go back in time. The Silk Road is a term used to note the myriad of trade routes from China to Europe that crossed Central Asia. Many of the famous cities of the time, like Samarkand and Bukhara, have survived to the present day, but others were not so lucky. Perhaps the unluckiest was Merv, the largest city on the planet in the 13th century, housing a staggering 1 million people. Caravans from Europe and China would meet here, and their goods would be bought and sold in the hundreds of markets. The greatest minds of the Islamic world would also meet here, trading knowledge rather than goods.
Ancient Merv wasn't dry, in fact far from it, and behind me is a building called a sardoba, and to this day you can go inside and collect water.
Water, of course, was the lifeblood of the city in this location. The master of the water employed 10,000 people to keep the canals, channels and filters clear.
So Seljuk Empire in 12th century AD, they were really good on making bricks in that time, so in the different shapes, and we call it brick game or playing with bricks.
It's hard to exaggerate just how important and how vast and rich Merv was in the classical world, all the way up to the 12th century when it was vying with Baghdad as the greatest city on earth. So why have most people never heard of it?
Well, in the 13th century, destruction would arrive in the shape of Genghis Khan. The Mongol hordes left most of the city in ruins and its population either dead or in exile.
So now we're standing next to the biggest castle in Turkmenistan territory, and it's called gyz-kala. Gyz-kala means the castle of girls or women.
It really goes to show what you can achieve with painstaking excavation. Just a few years ago, I would have seen very little here, very little that would have shown me what it was like for the women that lived in this fortified palace.
Although dubbed a kala, so castle or fortress, the monument was probably a semi-fortified home of an important official, perhaps even the governor of Merv itself.
This is probably the most emblematic image of Merv. It was certainly the first image I ever saw many years ago in a small black and white version that really didn't tell me anything. In fact, I thought it looked like a grain silo about the size of a small house. Really not worth visiting. Well, I was wrong. It's incredibly impressive. Just across from the Maiden's Castle, it's thought that this was a barracks, but like many of the buildings on this site, it has been heavily eroded, and there's not much excavation can do here.
Merv is a collection of cities of different periods, but little is visible now aside from the large defensive walls. Buried beneath layers of mud and sand are perhaps some of the most exciting unexcavated ruins anywhere in the world. All that's needed is an army of archaeologists and lots of money. The mausolea of the two Ashgab is one of the most visited parts of the site. This is a Timurid-era shrine to two of the Prophet Muhammad's earliest companions, Abu Dar al-Ghifari and Abu Buraida al-Aslami, two of the earliest converts to Islam. The two small tomb chambers house the cenotaphs of the Ashgabs. The monumental portals were destroyed by the Mongol invasions, but rebuilt by the Timurids in the 16th century, and since the 1990s, the tile work has also been restored.
So here we can see two different types of glazed stones. These glazed stones that you see, these ones are made after independence, after 1991, and these ones are original from 15th century AD by Timurid Empire.
The tallest building on the whole site and visible for miles around is the partially reconstructed 12th century mausoleum of Sultan Sanjar.
The tomb of Sultan Sanjar honours the Seljuk ruler of Khorasan from 1097 and the Sultan of the Empire from 1118 to 1157. It's thought that he began planning and constructing his tomb in the early 1130s, when he was at the height of his power. The dome itself was originally covered in blue tiles and would have been an incredible sight to behold.
So when the Marco Polo was here, he was shocked when he saw this construction of Sultan Sanjar, and because the reason is why, because this is the first construction in the world with the two domes at the same time.
So my short time in Eastern Turkmenistan is over. It takes some effort to get here, but it is well worth it. The ruins of Merv allow a small glimpse into this forgotten metropolis. The most notable feature of the modern city is the friendliness of its people. They love Mari, and so do I.